stream Sage on Spotify, Apple Music, or anything else?
Hi. This is a really weird video for me to be doing just because it's a shift in the way my life is going.
Sorry to bother you, but I know you asked me to do like 2 other things. What were those things?
Dishwasher, cardboards.
Okay, because I just finished my homework.
Say hi
Yeah.
to the vlog.
Hello.
We're gonna be talking about what happened today. I haven't even brought it up yet. Okay, bye. I have therapy every Tuesday. I've had therapy every Tuesday probably for the last 3 years, and before that, a year before that. I took a year off because life hit the fan a little bit and couldn't really afford it. My therapist told me today that she got her dream job. Or a dream job, not her dream job, but a dream job. And that she had contemplated staying in the practice she's in, ultimately decided that she's gonna do the job that she just got full time. And she was going to say goodbye to her clients. And when I tell you the physical reaction my body had to her telling me this was actually incredible. I got hot, my face went red, I started getting really clammy, and eventually started crying. It's something that I've thought about, and I've just kind of coped with over the years, being like, well, if it happens, it happens. It's not going to be a big deal. And this year, earlier in the year, I kind of went through a moment of like stopping therapy, not feeling like it was worth it, but ultimately going back to it and talking through that with her. And she went through something, and whatever it ended up, I was like, okay, let's do every 2 weeks. I think we're there. And then we went back to once a week because I felt that I was coming to a realization about certain things. And we talked over those things, and they'll probably be something that I have to work through in the future, and it's going to be probably something that it's an ongoing thing, but ultimately it's not going to be with her. At the end of today's session, I genuinely sobbed. I don't think I've cried like that since, gosh, when was the last time I cried that big? I think it was from the last time I genuinely cried like that was listening to Crescent City, the first Crescent City book at the end. If you've read it, you know. But I cried because it is like a grief, and it's something that now I have to process with her. I have been her client since June 2021, a month after I quit smoking. And she helped me through probably one of the hardest times in my life. It's funny because ultimately she helped me help myself get through these things. She was a sounding board that I could go to, a reminder of what I was working towards, and just a real tool in my toolbox of getting through that time of my life. I'm a psychology student myself. I do eventually want to do therapy in some way. I don't know how it's gonna turn out. It might just be like a special interest, but it's something I want to study and get through and do. So I know that this is something I'm going to have to get to eventually. But I learned in one of my classes that when someone goes through something traumatic, they have a more comeback rate if they are supported emotionally through whatever traumatic thing they went through. Now, I actively went looking for her back in 2021. I ended up ghosting her for about a year, tried a different therapist, and was like, no, actually, I'm gonna reach out to her and go back to her. And we worked on the fact that I ghost, and it happened to her. And I got really good, and I was in therapy, and then something really awful happened. Something I would never have predicted, something I would have never guessed. And it happened on a Tuesday where I was able to talk to her that day and like explain to her like, hey, I can't make the appointment today. This is happening. I'm so sorry. And her be like, okay, that's fine. And her emailing me and just like checking in on me. And like, it was like a major crisis grief thing. And for 2 years since that happened, it has been like a weekly thing of learning this new life, and I've learned a little bit more about her. I got myself better mentally, and I had support through that, and it was really good for somebody who is so emotional. Having a therapist that worked that way was so good. I have been like kind of thinking I don't really need therapy, but right now it's good and it's working for me, so I'm going to keep it. And if something was to come up, I would deal with that when it came. And when she told me that we were only going to have a few more weeks left, there's a work page she wants us to work through. And it's letter to my new therapist, because that's what the job is, right? Is to keep moving forward and to keep going on things and working on yourself and how you can manage life properly. I'm going to grieve this. It's going to be a adjustment to how I manage and think about my mental health. I am now, it really truly feels like she was holding my hand. I brought this up to her, and I'm not extremely religious, but I brought this up to her of like, the only thing that I can think about right now is the footprints prayer. If you've ever seen like the prayer printed out on like a painting or something, and it's 2 sets of footprints and then a footprint 1 set. And the basis of the prayer is like, or the story or whatever it is why was I walking alone when you could have been walking beside? Why did you leave me in the times of trouble? And it is like, no, you weren't alone. I carried you. And I feel like she carried me in a lot of ways. Granted, I know she didn't, but I put that there. And there's so many things that I picked her as a therapist. She was an online therapist. I really liked her name. We had similar interests. It was just a reflection. And I know I'm a reflection of whatever I'm learning. And I'm so grateful that it did what it needed to do. I haven't smoked. I actually got sober because of what I learned in therapy and recognizing like negative habits and traits and behaviors. And I learned how to communicate. I learned how to make mistakes. And I learned about shame. And I learned about guilt. And I learned about a pie chart. And I learned about so many things that I needed to learn. And it's like, I feel like I learned in this last 5 years all the things that I wish I would have learned when I was little. And it's nobody's fault. It's just part parcel of the world. These are truly happy tears, but it's just a different change. And knowing that that support is no longer there. We work a lot in symbolism. I'm big on the symbols and stuff. Like we talked about how I have like a treehouse that I climb into, and that's where everybody's allowed to come, and then I have a rock where I go to, and like nobody's allowed in there. They can't even know I'm in there. They can look in the treehouse, she's not there. Don't even question if it's in the rock. Like that's like our thing. And now it feels like for so long, you know, when they're building a bridge, they need all these supports up to be able to hold it up while they build it. And then they eventually take the supports down so that the bridge can be on its own. I'm a bridge. And I told her today I'm PMSing. And she told me this the day I was PMSing. You told me this on the day of my daughter's wedding. And she said, she's like, Sarah, I know you're happy and I know you're excited for me, but like, it's okay to grieve other things. And I'm not going to apologize for crying. I learned how to like not apologize for things I'm not sorry for. And that's really interesting to go through. And I'm going to find the journal that I started when I first started her, and I think about all the times like we talked about books and she told me about all these books, and I bought the books but I never told her about the books, and I never read the books but I bought them, even like the fiction ones. And we've had show and tell, and there's like I know it's not a friendship because I don't know very much about her, but I did say to her, I was like, can we look up like if we can be online friends? Like I'd love to know more about you now. I don't know if she would want to be my friend. I wasn't a big believer in therapy. I didn't understand it 6 years ago. I thought it was kind of ridiculous, and I thought it was kind of just what anybody who doesn't want to do therapy feels like. And it just became such a great support in my journey, and I feel stronger and I feel better and I feel than I ever have. The one thing that I feel the hardest, like the most concerned about, is I have a 15-year-old dog, and the fact that I have to grieve that someday in a different way. That's the scariest thing. Or a family member. Who knows? Like maybe we'll meet again in that way, but I doubt it. The thing about her was we were across the country from each other. It's been very much a perfect situation for somebody who used to be avoidant. I don't think I'm avoidant anymore. I think I'm pretty secure, and it was by her guidance and her help that it was managed. But it was me. I know it was me, and I know that it was necessary. We had a scare, or I had a scare, because I'm automatically like, if I don't hear from someone, they're dead. And that's strange to say from a ghosting avoidant. Like, whatever. I'm working towards not being that way every day. It doesn't mean it still doesn't exist. And she had her boss message me and I was like, oh my god, she died. And I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And this is kind of a situation where we're gonna be able to say goodbye and end this chapter and grieve it and move on to something new. And who knows where our lives will take us here on out. Maybe we'll see each other around on the interwebs. Maybe we'll see each other someday. But it's time to move on and reflect. It was funny because the first day on therapy, and like I'm pretty sure on the last day, but today I went to the bookstore, got a new notebook, bought some new pens, bought some books, bought a book on grief today. Closing it out the same way we went in, and it's just a life-changing day. I'm so grateful for the tools and things that I'm going to go through now. And I have these books that she has offered to me, and I will read them and I will think of her. And who knows, maybe one day run into each other in some way or the other. I think I can be without a therapist for a while, and I do think I can manage it myself. I will probably like shop around for one and try a few here and there if I need, but this is like a different path for myself, and I think I am going to start a Dear Sarah segment, and it's going to be kind of a therapized moment, and maybe not based on like what I'm going through, but maybe I can share tips and tricks, and they will be in a view of Dear Sarah, in honor to my healing journey and in reflection. I love the psychology, I love therapy, I love the idea of it. I love that you can go and you literally learn more about yourself. You learn how to cope with things. There's things that would have like just floored me 6 years ago that now I'm like, okay, I can manage that. That's not such a big deal. And it's just from here on out, it's going to be different. I feel better that I talked about it on here. I feel better that it's now out in the world. And if you are also going through something similar, or you're thinking about that with your therapist, about how am I going to manage this, or how am I going to get through this, maybe we can work together. Maybe we can support each other through this all, and maybe we can be each other's friends through it. And it's going to be interesting to sit down and think about the things that I learned about and what things I've grown from her. And if you have any advice, or if you have any stories, if you've been through something similar, let me know. That would be great to know. If you feel like you need support and you don't have anywhere to go in the comments. Maybe I'll answer, maybe someone else will see it. I'm not a very big creator, but at least it's there if you so happen to come across this video. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.